Okay, so now we're in Dream 3. This is the House of Toys. There's not a whole lot about this level that's very speedrunny. It is an auto-scroller. My time on this level, my split is almost exactly the same every time. Because the only thing that really depends on you is these platforms right here and how quickly you can make it across them. So you can come over here, you can do this, and then you come down and you jump on the train. And now I always like to feed the train candy at first, just so that it can be nice to me. And I'm going to explain a couple of enemy types. Here's the deal. House of Toys for me is the run validator. If I get past House of Toys and I'm happy with the first two levels, I'll pretty much finish the run no matter what, just because it can be a real pain in the butt to get here. There's the barrier of entry to Nemo is that it's got a really tough exploit at the beginning, and then it's got a really hard gatekeeper at House of Toys that likes to kill a lot of runs, because this level is just a whole bag of random. Basically, it's an auto-scroller where you're riding this train the whole time, but these planes right here, the same number of them will spawn every time you do the level, but they will spawn at random heights, and you'll notice as I'm going through there, some of these things are going to actually drop and try to dive bomb me. I can't plan what those are because those always change. The ones that dive bomb always change. Sometimes hardly any of them dive bomb, sometimes 70% of them dive bomb, or anything in between. So you really more have to learn what the pattern of the enemies are so that you can kind of avoid them on the fly. And there's another enemy that when it pops up, I'll pause and explain that one too. See right there. So that one dive bombed, that one dive bombed. And I always just try to stay behind where the planes are. Okay, and then you have the balloons. Now the balloons also drop their bombs at random intervals. However, they drop their first bomb at random intervals. But if you wait until they drop a bomb right by you, and then you run backwards until you see that bomb drop, and you'll see me do this. You run backwards until you see that bomb drop, and then the second it goes down, you run forward. You'll never get hit by the bombs. Now, sometimes if you hang out too far to the right of the screen, like over here, then yeah, you're probably going to get hit by the bombs because you're not going to see it coming before you get hit. So don't ever do that. For the majority of the level, you'll see me hang out kind of in this region. And this one just takes practice. And even if you're really practiced at this level, occasionally RNG is just going to get you and it's going to burn a run. At least in my experience, this is kind of how it goes. But anyways, take a look at how I do this. You'll see basically me doing the same things that I did over and over again. I'll probably pause it at one more point just to explain something. But other than that, this is an auto-scroller, and it's an auto-scroller. It's just going to go on its own anyway. So I see run backwards until the first bomb and then run past. See, and right there, I just messed myself up. So sometimes those planes will spawn in different places, and sometimes it's almost impossible not to get hit in that little tight space there. And then here we go. It's usually not worth getting any of the power-ups if you do this thing right. So I call these the pancakes, because they look like stacks of pancakes to me. Stand in the right place and none of them will ever bother you. Now here there's a flying squirrel. This guy gave me a lot of trouble when I first started playing the game. He's right there. He's going to drop down when I get close enough and fly straight towards me. This is one of the only times you'll see me actually go forward in the level just so that I can go back again. Just to make him go down like that, and then I can just jump over like that. Now this next part, you can actually hang out over here on the right, and most of the time the bombs won't drop on you. If you want to be safe, you can hang out on the left too, though. And then if I run forward, I can avoid doing that jump. And these keys right here actually aren't even necessary to beat the level, but they kind of serve as a guide on where to jump over those planes. And now here we go. So this is the spike squish. It's what I call it. That's not the official name. Don't call it that. But basically, the idea is the train's going to start slamming up into these spikes. And this is the part where if you got to this as a kid, it probably made you pee your pants a little bit. And it's really intimidating looking until you know how to get past it. And it's actually really, really easy. Let it go. So it's going to start slamming me up into the spikes right here. And what I want to do is I want to get on those first two little nubbins right here. Right there and right there. You just want his feet to kind of match those. And then all you really have to do is just hold down the down button, and you'll duck right into that one, run to the back, and now you're just hold down and you're through. And you'll get through this entire part, but the issue here is that planes start coming, and sometimes they will dive bomb you, like that. Now, the deal with the planes is if you get hit by one and it deboosts you back up into the spikes right here, you will die. This is a Capcom game, and this game does play kind of like Mega Man sometimes. But the difference between this and Mega Man is that iframes do not protect you from spikes. On iframes, you can run through enemies, it protects you from all that stuff, but if you hit spikes on iframes, you will die. Spikes don't care. So you have to be really careful about that in this game, and it's going to burn some runs for you until you get used to it, because in most games, iframes do protect you from instant death stuff like spikes. But Nemo doesn't play by those rules. So if you aren't paying attention, then that last plane that dropped can drop into you, damage boost you up and into those spikes, and then that's going to burn the run for you. So you have to be really careful about going too fast on this part. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And now, the level kind of just plays itself out. I can actually probably just stand right up here and never get hit by anything, because all the planes are going to fall before they get to me, and then all the balloons are going to drop bombs after they get past me. And then once it levels out up here and starts going straight again, like that, now you know there's a couple of planes to avoid. And these are the only planes in the entire level that appear in the same place every time. And then you just jam right and get to the door. And like I said, pretty much every time I get past House of Toys, my split is like exactly the same, within like a couple tenths of a second. There's not much to it. But it's an auto-scroller. Not that bad once you get used to it, but yeah, the RNG can get you sometimes, so you gotta watch out for that. Next up, we've got the Night Sea.